going on, guys? Welcome back to the Broad Street Boys, and today we're going to tackle a bunch of stuff happening within the Philadelphia sports world, leading it off with the Sixers and trying to take the pressure off of Maxi's shoulders, and just the whole outlook of the second half of the year going into the playoffs. Then we get the Eagles with the whole A.J. Brown situation, if I think he's going to get traded or not, and then finishing with the Phillies, whose spring training has now started. So we're super excited about that. I'm going to give you my opinions, and I don't love what Dave Dombrowski said on 94 WIP, but here we are, starting with the Sixers. Super excited to get to all this stuff today, but the Sixers are officially into the second half of the season. The All-Star game happened. I was pleasantly surprised by the All-Star game. There was competition. Tyrese Maxey tore it up in that last game. Really overall entertained. I actually didn't. Have been absolutely hating on this dunk contest. And was it great? No, but I didn't think it was that bad. Three-point contest is fun as always. And Max didn't win the three-point contest, obviously, but yeah, it was just fun to have a Sixer in there. I think the first time since Kyle Korver too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so we are back from that break, and we come off into two consecutive losses, which is not a great look. Coming off, especially with Joel again being out, so he was out 4 straight games. 2 before, 2 after, and then he came back recently against the Indiana Pacers where they tore him up. And they put up, I think, 135 points. I think that was on Tuesday. It was on Tuesday. But yeah, they look really good. I'm kind of just going to go into the keys of this next half of the season, because there are a few certain things that if they really want to be successful in these playoffs, which I believe they do, that just things that need to happen in order for that to happen. Number one, I need to see. I feel like without Jared McCain now, this puts so much pressure on VJ Edgecombe and Quentin Grimes. Just because neither one of you can get hurt. We can't afford either one of you to get hurt. I know one starts and one doesn't, but the importance of those two is so huge because we are already not great guard depth wise. Like we have Cam Payne on the team again, which I actually didn't hate the move. Again, at least they're trying, which I appreciate, but at the same time, like, it's just frustrating, obviously, because this would never happen if we didn't trade away our young star. Yes, I'm still angry about it. I just want to let you put it out there. Yeah, but honestly, it's put so much pressure on those two guys, and especially Quentin Grimes, because Quentin Grimes, I feel like this has gone unnoticed, but Quentin Grimes almost didn't come back because he wanted a huge deal. And then now he's currently playing on a 1-year deal, worth not a whole lot. I think it's like about, $8.8 million, I believe it is. And I feel like if Quentin Grimes wants that money and it wants to be paid like a top level guard, then I need him to play like it. And I feel like the loss of Jared McCain puts way more pressure on his shoulders for him to score more than 12 points a game going off the bench. I need to see some like Lou Williams bench type stuff from him. After what he tried to command in the offseason, money-wise, I need to see that a really great, Houston defense that I got got used to seeing in college from him, and also on the Knicks and the Mavs before he came here. I need to see all of those things for him to get both a long extension either with us or with someone else, and I need him to earn his money. I feel like it has gone under the radar, how much pressure is on Quentin Grimes' shoulders, because when I watch Quentin Grimes, he is a nice player, but sometimes when I watch Quentin Grimes, especially in the beginning of the year, I see a dude trying to make a bag, trying to make literally the most of every single time that he touched the ball, so that he can make money, which I guess makes sense. Like that is the nature of the NBA. You're trying to make money no matter what, but it was almost like a little selfish just to start the year. And I bet he would decline that, but that's just the vibe I got from the way he was playing. But now he has started to take not a back seat, but he started to let the game come to him a little more, and his efficiencies have been way better. And I need him to do that a little more. And except I think now without Jared McCain, I think he needs to push the issue a little more, and create shots for himself like he was a little bit in the beginning of the year, and especially last year when nobody was playing, it was just him. So I need a little bit more of Quentin Grimes. Someone else I need to see more out of, and I kind of feel bad saying this, but Daryl Morey put us in this position where I'm going to say that VJ Edgecombe, a 20 or 21-year-old, has so much pressure on his shoulders because essentially he picked him, like that number one pick, over the other number one pick that he traded away. So it puts so much pressure on VJ Edgecombe's shoulders. And honestly, the thing I want to see from VJ is just that motor that he has, that like Energizer Bunny, type of defense that he has. That no matter how big or small you are, he's going to guard you and he's going to hit a shot in your mouth. That's the VJ Edgecombe I want to see, and that's the VJ Edgecombe I want to see progress as well. But those two are the two guards that I need to see progress a little better. And I feel like I can't not mention this name as well when I'm talking about the key to the Sixers. But I need to see Joel Embiid play. Obviously, I'm not one to like hate on him for not playing because he's hurt. If you're hurt, you're hurt. That's honestly where I'm at. And I feel like if there's any testament to that, to like if I see, okay, sorry, just to back a little bit, I hate the argument about Joel Embiid that he doesn't want to play. I think he wants to play a little more than people give him credit for. Just thinking about, honestly, like think about that Knicks series. The dude put up 50 points with Bell's palsy and a hurt knee. Believe that was his meniscus, and no one gives him credit for that. The doctors actually urged him not to play, but he was like, "I can't not play." So that he put up 50 points with the Knicks in the playoffs. So I hate the argument that he doesn't want to play, but I just need his body to hold up. And it really breaks my heart that when I hear quotes from Joel and he's like, "I would trade my MVP for one healthy playoff run." And I feel like that just shows you a lot about what he really cares about, and that's winning the championship. And I feel like as a fan, that's all you really want from Joel Embiid, your superstar, for I don't even know how long, for what, 10 years now? That's crazy to say out loud. But yeah, that's what you want to hear out of your superstar. And all he wants to win. He really just wants to win. And I get the load management sometimes. Like I actually totally get not playing back to backs for him from him. Just because that's probably what caused it in the first place. But I need to see him on the court consistently. This team is different with him on the court and with him off the court. Obviously, that's it. It's not, rocket science. But we need to see him on the court, because the two-man game between him and Maxey is lethal. And then I really feel like a dude like Kelly Oubre and Dominic Barlow feed off of Joel really well as well. I mean, you can really just see that in the Pacers game. Obviously, it's the Pacers, and I feel like all of their best players are hurt. But they did put up 135 points, and a lot of it was the facilitation between Maxey and Embiid, and how they got everyone else involved, and while also picking up theirs as well. So that's definitely my keys for this year. I'm also interested to see, I don't have any names off the top of my head, but I'm also interested to see what Daryl Morey does in the buyout market. I know there are a few more names out there that he could target, but at the same time, like, we kind of need a little bit more point guard depth, because obviously Nick Nurse likes to play Cam, and I like seeing Cam Payne out there. Like, he's fine. He's a little I don't know how to say this, but not as great offensively, but his defense is pretty good. He's just a little small. But if you could get someone else off the buyout market that brings some more energy, I feel like that could really change the team, because that's really what you lose with losing Jared McCain is that energy, that natural feel for the game, just that. I think if you really got someone like that from the buyout market, that could really set this team off and skyrocket them hopefully into the playoffs. But yeah, this team is dangerous now. This team is dangerous in the playoffs. They just have to all be healthy, and I feel like that's the biggest if of the past, again, 10 years. But they all have to be healthy, and I think at that point we could beat anybody. So it'll be definitely interesting to watch for the Sixers. And as a fan, all you can root for is their health. And I think the last thing I'll say about the Sixers for now is I feel like having more depth at the guard position and better play just in general, I feel like that'll take the pressure off of Tyrese Maxey, because already there's a lot of tread on those tires, and it's currently February 25th when I'm recording this. And there's a lot of tread on those tires, and going up to the All-Star weekend, I could see him slowing down a little bit because he was exhausted, not from like the specific game, but from just the wear and tear of the season. And so I need to see more consistent play out of all the guards and maybe pick up another guard. Yeah, So that's what I have for the Sixers. And I honestly think if this team is healthy, they will make it to the conference championship. I will say that here with a straight face. If this entire team is healthy, they'll make it to the conference championship. And I say that because of the continuity on this team. You don't have if you think about it, this team is really good with just Embiid and Maxey, but we also have to remember like Paul George is coming back before the season. I believe there'll be 4 games ish left before he comes back, so that'll give him some time to get acclimated back into the situation. And like people are forgetting that like the lineup won't include Dominic Barlow as starter. I love Dominic Barlow, but having Paul George as that defensive presence will drive all these high numbers that they're letting up right now down to the floor. So this team is dangerous in the playoffs if we're all healthy and we all know what's going into our body. Paul George, all that good stuff. I'm kidding, obviously. I feel bad for Paul George. Love Paul George, but at the same time, like it just sucks that he's doing that for his mental health and that it has now happened to 2 of our teams because it's like a very similar situation to Jose Alvarado, who was just taking a certain type of drug to lose some weight, and it turns out that drug was on the list, which sucks. But yeah, hopefully when Paul comes back, he'll be just as effective as he was when he was here. If we just stay within the 5 or 6 range, and then Paul comes back for the last 4, I feel good about our chances. But I think that the Sixers should do everything in their power to avoid the play-in tournament. If you just avoid the play-in tournament, that is a win, just overall. So avoid the play-in tournament and make the playoffs. That's all I ask. Okay, so that's what I have for the Sixers. Next is the Eagles. The Eagles are just weird. Yeah, like it's really hard to explain. But I would assume that we all either heard about the clip or seen the clip. But Howie Rosen mentioned that there's no guarantee or something that AJ Brown comes back to the team, which is really unfortunate. Because AJ Brown really is that special of a talent. And hearing something like this is really making me think he's going to get traded. Which I don't love saying as a Philadelphia fan because, it's AJ Brown. Like my thought with the AJ Brown trade ideas or whatever. Whenever you trade for AJ Brown, you will not get the same type of production back from what AJ Brown is giving you currently when he's at his peak. However, the big asterisk is when he's at his peak. And I listen. I'm an AJ fan. Am I ready to move on? Yes. But at the same time, if he came back, I would just be like, okay, yeah, that's just AJ. That's just who he is. But I'm slightly ready to move on. But I think I'm also thinking that they're going to trade him, right? Because no one's really pushing back on the notion that they're not going to trade him. They could there are some very easy answers that they could answer to a lot of the questions that they're being asked at the combine and just in general. They could just say no, we're not trading AJ Brown. I hope we all realize this. They really like Howie. What's the deal with AJ Brown? They give him X, Y, and Z on why you should trade him. And Howie could fully just be like, yeah, I'm not going to trade him. But Howie has declined saying that. And even Sirianni hasn't really said oh yeah, we're not getting rid of AJ Brown. And obviously it's not Sirianni's fault or call, but I feel it's very weird that no one is really kind of expressing that he's going to be on the team next year, which is why I'm thinking he's going to get traded. Which is again unfortunate because when AJ Brown is 100% and 100% into the game, he is a top 5 wide receiver, I would say. But that's when he's in the game, and that was not super common last year, which is sad to say, but that's just the reality of it. The other thing that I'm going to mention about the Eagles is that I think this is a really big year for Nick Sirianni. Because Sirianni, I like how WIP mentioned it. He's kind of taking a CEO type of leadership style, where he's not really calling plays, but he's kind of overseeing everything, and he's kind of the hype guy, which is fine. We've talked about this on the pod. I'm fine with it. He's a great coach, whatever. But I think this is a really big year because I wonder if nothing's confirmed, obviously, and I just had this thought while I was listening to the radio and just in general. I wonder if the Sean Mannion hire for offensive coordinator was a Nick Sirianni hire or it was a Howie hire. And I think that's going to play a lot into if this is Sirianni's. I wouldn't even say like make or break it year, but kind of honestly, because if like as a CEO type of coach, if you're like not winning games, then I feel like it's time to leave. Because it's not like you can like make adjustments on the fly because you're calling the plays. He's not calling the plays. It's all about the way you're winning and the amount of wins you're getting. Um, and I feel like it's the fan base's biggest frustration that we have both a CEO head coach that relies on purely winning, and then a quarterback that also relies on purely winning as well. People like to say that Jalen Hurts isn't really good at anything, or isn't really great in anything. He's just good at things. I would slightly agree with that. However, I do think Jalen Hurts is still a top 13 or 14 quarterback in the entire league. Um, and I don't think he sucks. I actually think he's pretty good, and I think in the Sean Mannion system that I think he's gonna be pretty good. And I actually like the progression of Jordan Love throughout these years. I feel like Jordan Love was coached a lot by Sean Mannion and that system. So it'll be interesting to see, uh, just to see like how it looks. And plus, I know for a fact Sean Mannion is going to have a little bit of that Matt LaFleur offense, which is a great offense and an offense that anyone could be successful in, honestly. And that was kind of like the Kellen Moore aspects as well. So that'll be interesting to see as well, just for the Eagles side. But yeah, the main thing I want to talk about was the AJ thing, and I think unfortunately, AJ Brown is gone. But that's all I have with the Eagles. Now we're gonna get to the Phillies. The Phillies, I'm excited for the Phillies. Like I know we just did an entire pod about it, and please go check that out. That was a really good one. We honestly give a bunch of like in-depth ideas and players that we're kind of looking out for. But I am excited for the Eagles or for the Phillies. My bad. I guess the Eagles, the Phillies. But so we've started up. Game one, Justin Crawford, first at bat. Within his at bat, he had a moonshot, home run, foul, way foul, but a moonshot. And then the next pitch, he ropes one out. So what was that? Left center field, I believe, and could have gone out in a few stadiums. But then he made it all the way to second with his speed, and then he also had another hit. So he was 2 for 3 with a sliding catch, and then he played today on the 25th, and he had a really nice grab out in right center field, playing center. And that was the one thing about Justin Crawford. Hey, how is he going to be in the field tracking balls in center field? How is he going to be pretty much being the quarterback of the outfield? That's how I like to think of center field. You pretty much see everything being in the middle. You can call people off, and they'll peel off, and that's kind of your job. But that was one of the bigger things with Justin Crawford is actually it's two things. How is he going to be checking balls? Obviously, he's looked good so far. Made 2 really, really, really nice plays. And then the other aspect is, can he get the ball off the ground? Before I say this, I'm not comparing him to Johan Rojas, but he kind of had the Johan Rojas thing where he crushes the ball. It just goes directly into the ground, and then which creates a lot of ground balls, which creates a lot of double plays, which creates a lot of outs. But at the same time, if he just finds the holes within the infield, then it's fine. But getting the ball up in the air, I think, is something that I think Kevin Long is going to work with him. I think he's already worked with him about it because, I mean, I've already seen a difference in his swing. If you look at his swing, even last year, it was very loopy. It was very, I won't say it was weird, but it was kind of weird. It was like a really wide left-handed stance. But I feel like just from the past 2 games of what I've seen, I feel like he's shortening up, and there's way less movement in his hands. If you notice, it's a lot of this last year, and like a lot of this, and the knob of the bat, and I feel like it's always like towards the pitcher, which is good. But I feel like he's moving the bat a lot, and I feel like within these last 2 games, there's been way less movement. And me as a baseball guy, that's kind of what you want to see. Way less movement means you're way shorter to the baseball, and I've already seen that within these first 2 games. So I'm really hyped about Justin Crawford, and I'm really interested to see, kind of where he goes from here. Another player I would like to talk about is Kyle Schwarber. Watched the game on Sunday. I did, and let me just tell you, I had a feeling he was going yard first at bat or second at bat, whatever, and he did, and it was a moonshot. Didn't surprise me. Mr. Max contract. Honestly, proud of him. I wonder where we're all going to see Kyle Schwarber all time, Phillies wise, after his career's over. Not really anything anyone's really thought about. But if he has a season anything like last year, and last year, if Shohei Ohtani didn't exist, he might have won MVP as a DH power hitter. If you think about it, I think like I'm just very interested to see where he's going to end up within everyone's greatest Phillies of all time list because I think he might be up there because he does have 5 more years. And I feel like the whole run it back notion is now officially annoying to me because now people are just annoyed about it. And like, listen, you could be annoyed about running it back in January, in my opinion. You can honestly be annoyed about it from like November to end of January. Be annoyed about it. You're like, oh, I gotta watch this team again. Oh, it's so annoying. But then as soon as you get to spring training, let's get over it. Because this team is not. I know we really mentioned this a lot in the last podcast, but it's not running it back. Is it a different version of running it back? Sure, you can call it that. But there's gonna be new players all over the diamond, and I'm really excited to see most of them. We'll see if Alec Boehm stays long term. Aiden Miller will hopefully come up eventually, and it seems like Bryce Harper in just the dugout interview seems to be very excited about Aiden Miller and told to get healthy. So that's it. That's fun for me. And it also, speaking of Bryce Harper, it seems like his whole debacle with Dave Dombrowski has kind of blown over. It seems like they've talked about it. I just don't understand why they didn't talk about it going into the year, just to be like, okay, let's get it all out honestly, before all the press was going to ask us questions about it, because then you could just be like, we talked it out, we're all good now. But they couldn't do that. And it had become more drama, and then, and believe me, us Philadelphia fans are used to that annoying drama, and I feel like it happens in every single one of our teams. But yeah, it seems like that's blown over, thank God. But yeah, so those are a few guys, and I feel like I'm not going to say that I think Bryce Harper is going to win MVP, but I do think that he might. I think if there's someone specifically that might win it on this team, I think it's going to be Bryce Harper. Because I think he is going to be motivated, and if Bryce Harper is healthy, he's one of the greatest players in this entire league. So I'm excited to see what Bryce Harper has. But something that did bother me, that I kind of referenced at the beginning, of the podcast, that is, so Dave Dombrowski was on WIP, on their morning show today, actually, on the 25th, and I thought it was interesting that they asked him kind of like the whole coming back to the run it back, the notion he thinks that it's not bad that they're running it back essentially, and that I like this negative connotation on it, which I agree. But then he did use the words that he says that we think that we're going to be better than last year. I don't. Who's going to tell Dave Dombrowski that won 96, 97 games last year? Do you know how hard it is to be better than 96 wins? That's so hard, and it was a down year for the Braves. So it was basically 3 guaranteed win series with the Marlins, the Nationals, and the Braves. So that was, I just thought that was so odd that he said that, because yes, we are kind of running it back, but like we have young guys. We have way more young guys, especially with Painter coming up as well, and the loss of Ranger. We have way more young guys and way more opportunities to lose, which is fine. Like I'm like, if we just make the playoffs, I feel like we're dangerous, obviously, but like the idea that we have to be better than last year, I feel like is stupid. Don't think that. Don't set yourself up for that. Just set yourself up to make the playoffs. That's all I want to do. I just want to make the playoffs with this team. I want to see progression out of everybody, and I want to see people not drop off. That should be your idea. It shouldn't be to be better and win more games than last year, according to Dave Dombrowski. I just disagree with that so wholeheartedly. It's like not even funny. But yeah, that I just didn't understand that. Other than that, though, I liked most of everything that he said. He's a very straight shooter type of dude. Like he'll tell you like really what he's thinking, and I mean, that has its pros and cons. Its pros is that you appreciate the transparency and that he's going to tell you exactly what he's thinking. The cons is what happened with Bryce Harper, when Bryce did have a down year. But I kind of attest that to more like injuries, honestly, and the inconsistency, and he'd be hurt or kind of hurt and then come back and be kind of hurt again, which is brutal. But to say it in a press conference is stupid, if you ask me. It's just not smart. And I would imagine that he would if he did it again, he would do it differently. So that's honestly what I have for that. But yeah, overall excited about all these teams. I mean, I think next week that's probably gonna wrap it up. For what I have tonight. But I will say though, next week I'm gonna do a full breakdown on what I want the Eagles free agency to look like, because free agency starts I believe March 11th, and I want to do it a week out. So get excited for that. I do have some ideas. And then I think eventually once the draft comes, I'll give you some ideas like next week. But I want to do an entire draft episode with Caleb or with some other people. We'll see. But yes. But that's gonna do it for me. You know what? 25 minutes is pretty good. I appreciate y'all for watching. I'm gonna try to get more consistent on TikTok. So follow TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and thanks for watching on YouTube or Spotify here. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one next week. I'm going to really try to be consistent, uploading a week, just weekly and all of that. I might start blogging too, and you'll see that post either on Instagram, or you might even see it on TikTok stories. So keep an eye out for that. But yes, I'll see you in the next one. Go Phils. Hopefully, Justin Crawford hits a home run the next time I see it. All right. Peace.